All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on this beautiful planet. Welcome to the Inner Circle Live New York session. I'm your host for this morning's session, Benny Allen, and I'm definitely happy and grateful for each and every one of you being here with us this morning as we take a look at the technicals and the fundamentals to see what we could take advantage of in what is a crazy, crazy Forex market. So without further ado, let's make sure that we turn off any and all distractions, grab a pen and paper, take lots of notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage. If everybody can hear me loud and clear, do me a huge favor, drop me a 1 in the chat, and we can get this session going. All right. So let's make sure that we start out each and every morning with the strong foundation, especially during these times, making sure that we are accepting all possible losses before entering a trade, preparing you for any outcome. Let's make sure that we set ourselves in body, mind, and spirit, ensuring a balanced approach to trading. Let's ensure that we trust in our education, strategy, trading skills, and intuition. Let's always imagine our trade successfully materializing and that we are obeying our trading strategy and avoiding decisions based on greed or fear. And let's make sure that we're never looking back or stopping once our trades have commenced. All right. So hope everybody had a happy Tuesday. And let's get to work on what is Wednesday now. So moving over to trading economics, we can see here that stocks remain under pressure. Global equity markets face renewed selling pressure under bond yields, and bond yields moved higher, right? So we talked about bonds, right? During these times, as the latest round of U.S. tariffs came into force, including a 104% levy on Chinese imports. 104%. The move reignited concerns over slowing global growth, a potential U.S. recession, and sustained inflationary pressures. Stagnation, right? We talked about that. Stagnation. European stocks fell around 3%, and the Nikkei 225 slumped 3.9%. In the U.S. futures on the S&P 500, and Dow Jones edged lower, while the NASDAQ 100 contracts hovered near the flat line. All right. We can see here that copper halts historic sell-off. Treasury yields rise, right, as a result of everything that's going on. Japanese consumer sentiment now notches to a 2-year low. Gold rises on safe haven demand. So we'll take a look at that. So we saw that there was a brief sell-off with investors going to cash to cover for some of their losses, selling out of gold. But we were wondering, how deep is that correction going to be, right? How long are they going to sell off? Because we know during these times, gold can serve as a great safe haven. We see Brent drops further on demand concerns, right? Slower growth, less demand, right, for that oil, right? And some of these other commodities. That's why you see we had a historic sell-off going with copper, but it halts historic sell-off. So we'll see where we are with that. Moving over to the DXY. Forex, DXY, the dollar index slipped for a second consecutive session on Wednesday, falling to 102.3, edging closer to the 6-month lows touched last week, mounting concerns over global growth, including the risk of a U.S. recession triggered by escalating trade tensions, right? Dampened investor sentiment and fueled demand for traditional safe haven currencies, just like we talked about, right? With the yen and the Swiss franc. The dollar also came under pressure because of the continued sell-off in treasuries amid speculation foreign investors are unwinding positions in response to rising uncertainty. The latest wave of reciprocal tariffs, including 104% levy on Chinese imports, officially took effect Wednesday, adding fears of broader economic fallout. Right? So down, right? Market is down. Yeah, so that's where we are. Some of the things that we have talked about, are coming to fruition, right? Your traditional safe havens, in regards to um, the yen, the Swiss franc. We were talking about that dollar yen short from the higher time frame. So we'll take a look at those things. Um, any questions or concerns regarding any of the fundamentals, comments, thoughts? Talk to me. Right? Crazy times right now. Nope.
What up, Ben?
Hey, what's going on, Joy?
None much. I found that article. It was Kenya, and it's actually I got the numbers mixed up. 25 was to the settlement to Trump. 1.9 billion is the settlement that they asking for to Kenya.
Wow. Wow. You said you found an article?
Found the article, but I'm trying to find a more. It was on routers, and I don't too much, but it's on another like opinionated site. I seen it come from investing.com the first time, but I can't find it
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. I appreciate the update on that.
for sure.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Matter of fact, let's look at investing.com and look at our technical summaries midweek. Um, see where we are. Um, right. So we can see our Aussie for the most part is still down. Euro Aussie long, right? That makes sense, right? We got a weaker Aussie. Euro Aussie still long. Euro CAD still long. Euro Swiss, see that there, right? The counter currency is the Swiss franc. We're selling off, right? So just knowing these little things, right? How the currencies fluctuate depending on, the fundamentals. Euro GBP is still long, right? Euro JPY is a sell, right? So you see that? It's very obvious, right? Our safe haven currencies are performing well against the euro. Euro NZD is a buy. Uh, Euro USD is a strong buy, right? That dollar is tanking. Um, Pound Aussie, right? Slightly long. CAD. That's all. So this tells you right now that pound is showing some weakness, right? Market's down. Pound is not performing well, right? Even against the CAD is down. We know against the Swissie and the yen is going to be down. Uh, so let's see what we can find, right? Trade what we see the conditions are, uh, what they are. Looking at the Forex factory, taking a look at the calendar, um, they held. So New Zealand held they held up. So the forecast, right? 3.5. I mean, they cut, I'm sorry, by 25 basis points. I was looking at the forecast. So previous was 3.75. They cut by 25 basis points. So we know we were talking about it yesterday. There was some speculation out there, maybe 50 basis points, but they came in at the forecasted 25 basis points on that. Didn't have a chance to read the statement yet. We had Governor Ueda from Japan speak. Uh, I'm going to that right now until I read some more details. Maybe you'll get something posted on that later. Um, FOMC meeting minutes came out yesterday. It's a super busy day yesterday. I didn't get a chance to read into too much of anything. Well, I mean, that's today. I'm sorry. Um, so that hasn't happened yet. 10:30, we got crude oil inventories. That's going to be interesting to see. Forecast is 2.2 million. We just spoke earlier this morning. That's what got me thrown off with Japan in their time. Um, so we'll see. We'll see what happens in these meeting minutes today. Should be quite interesting. We'll see if there's anything different than what they've been saying in there. What the other members are thinking, but we know right now the Fed is holding rates. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So
Hey, Benny,
man, we
when is
got
that
some good.
OPEC meeting?
That is a good question. Um, let's see. Last one was the 3rd of March. No, I have to find out. Okay. I'm looking at right now is it giving me the specifics on it. I have to find out. That's a let me see, OPEC, January 2025, February, March. Uh they out here April 3rd, OPEC and non-OPEC ministerial meeting, April 14th. The OPEC monthly report will be out. And then the next OPEC and non-OPEC ministerial meeting is going to be May 5th. So May 5th is the next uh, major meeting to report. The monthly report is due out April 14th on that. So that's where we are. Any other questions regarding the fundamentals or anything that's going on? No? Everybody kind of just chill? Is anybody, what are we trading? What are we live in right now? Or what are we holding? Are we just sitting on the sidelines? What are we doing?
I'm long with PLT.
You said TLT?
PLT, planetary, the company PLT.
Oh,
I'm still
PLTR. Oh yeah,
long,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
still
yeah.
long on that.
So
I'm on the video still.
yep. I'm holding that in my
Um,
portfolio.
yeah, that's all part of my portfolio, and I've got a few little trades I've got to go in and remember. I've got a bit oil and gas, so yeah, I'm holding on quite a few.
Yeah. So as long as your risk is good. I will say, right, if you got a little, you got a little dry powder sitting out there, with those levels, like what you're saying on PLTR and video, right? Uh, good long-term companies, in your portfolio, start at these prices, start dripping and buying some if you can afford to,
Yeah,
not a ton, but some because they're getting to some pretty good low price levels. And, you know, we saw when there was just some speculation that tariffs might be put on hold, things like that, when things were getting thrown out there, you see how quick the market rallied. So
mm,
I do expect that once things start to settle down, you know, I expect a good rally in the market. So I am starting to look at some of these lower prices. I know Danette was talking about it yesterday. Things she's keeping an eye on, but some of these lower prices to pick up, because these are those points in history where, you look back 10 years from now and be like, man, I wish I would have bought that at
yeah,
whatever this particular price. you know,
yeah,
so I agree with you there, especially when it comes to stocks and things like that. Those major companies, um, especially those companies where you know, due to the tariffs and things like that, when you got these companies that have strong customer bases, they're going to pass those costs off onto the customers. Um, the stocks if I'm shorting stocks, the ones that I would be shorting right now are those auto stocks because of the tariffs and how it's impacting all those parts. You know,
mm,
if I was shorting any type of stock, it would definitely be autos right now. But some of those, like you say, those videos, Palantir, those type of companies, longer term companies. We know tech is taking a big hit right now, but you can get a good low price on them. That's what I would be looking for. Just scaling in slowly, nothing
yeah,
super big, nothing super big. So
yeah.
appreciate you.
Just keep following
Yeah.
the news on what's happening with those two. They're two interests that I've been following for a while. So it kind of keeps you focused on specific areas that you like to look into and try and understand. So yeah, I kind of enjoy that. Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, no problem. Reese said he just closed an 80-20 buy on gold. Yeah. Good. That picked back up on a 30-minute. We'll take a look at that, Reese. Diana says she's long on the NAS currently. Yep. Reese, Aussie dollar approaches 61.8. Sell on the 30-minute. US oil approaching 80-20 buy on a 4 hour, 1 hour, and 30 Reese's on it. Okay, so we'll take a look at some things. The dollar, Reese, is dropping off, but I'm wondering how that dollar is gonna be played, right? So we see how China devalued their currency, right, to as a countermeasure, right, against the tariffs. I wonder, it makes me wonder about the dollar. We got sell-offs going on right now in treasuries. There's really no, because people are just looking for that protection, right? We know the yen and the Swissy is performing pretty good. Treasuries right now, not in the short term, not so much. That's why the yields are flying higher, right? Um, so we'll see on that. But taking a look at the DXY, right? You can see it pressing back down. What is this level? This price level here, right? 101.85. Okay, 101.85. Right, and we see it pressing. So we've come back down since, looking like we're gonna form that swing high. What's this next low? 101.17. 117 there. Moving back. We're moving back down. So this is gonna be an interesting play. Uh, so Joy, you got to trade on with that gas to the downside. Okay, right. Uh, so let's look at commodities. We'll take a look at gold. Um, and right, so we saw it from the 1 hour. Reset, he just closed out at 80-20 on the 30-minute. Which makes sense, right? It started to make a move back up. So let's drop down to the 30 so we can take a look at what Reese was seeing, right? Make sure that that is right. Yep. So you just close that move out. That's a good move. That's a good move. Holding gold on a buy, 29.90. Congrats, right? Drop some sevens in the chat for everybody, right? Got a lot of people posting in the comments some plays that they're making, right? Drop some sevens there for everybody. Right? Finding plays in the market. Right. So we're moving up. So reset, you closed that one out. We just broke above that 200. That was a good play. Congrats on that. All right, so we'll move back out. Take a look at this daily chart on gold, right? And we were wondering, right, up against that 50 moving average, up against that trend line, was it going to hold? We'll see, right? Still playing that safe haven. Right, I could get this out of there now. Right. So we close out today long, right? We'll have a swing low here that we could continue to see, an upward move. Right, was that 31.67? It's the high that it had reached. Something like that. And
Would you
so
look at
we're
that like a
trending.
crown, Benny, or no?
What, right here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we could. You could. But I'm you know, fundamentally so many things are changing day by day. Any, right, as we saw earlier in the week, any type of just slight optimism, is causing sharp moves in the market. Then it, you'll see it evaporate. Um, but I know investors are looking for safe places. I know they were selling out to cover losses, but which is why you saw this sharp move to the downside. But it could. Well, I guess we're gonna find out here soon, right? If we whether or not we're gonna push past that B boundary. Uh, but we're you know we're moving back to the upside right now. But that could definitely set up to be a great job looking at that. So we do have, right, some potential. We'll see, right? Great work on that. Sevens in the chat identifying that. But we'll see if that occurs. So we'll watch that B boundary to see if we break it and push past it. We're looking pretty strong right now, though. Right, looking pretty strong right now. We got decision, indecision, decision today, right? So we got a little bit of everything there. But that's how it is during these times. Look at that on oil. Okay, crazy move to the downside. Daily D extension was hit. So we've got some ideas drawn up here. So we'll see. We'll see if we start to recover. That's on the 4 oil. Yeah. There's your 1 hour 80-20 zone on oil, but you know, that's some strong downside pressure. And I'm gonna tell you, lots and lots of additional confirmation for any type of counter move. Other than that, you're waiting on the high price to get back short. Looking for a high price to get back short. Look at that previous ABCD wave. All right. Beautiful 80-20 play there. That pushed to the high price. Same thing. Over and over and over again. Right? Same thing. So oil bearish, right? 80-20, 1 hour. Other than that, you're looking for high prices to get short. We don't have a high price yet. All right, I have to figure out what would what would cause a rally, right, to a high price. So silver, okay, we know is down. Right. So we're hovering around that 382, just moving sideways. That was a sharp move up. Oftentimes when you get those huge candles, you get periods of consolidation. Market's trying to figure out what to do next. But we know for the most part, commodities, because of slow growth, right? Think about it. Slower growth, less demand, down, right? Down. Joy short on the nat gas. That's a good play right now. It's pushing to a low price. It's the daily chart. Like we're going to close in right on that weekly support level. Got the extension that's at 335. We'll see what happens, right? We know seasonality, things are getting warmer. Natural gas should be interesting, right? But right now we currently do have it to the downside. Right? Okay. All right. So that's where we are on that gas. I'll leave it there on the daily, right? Since that's showing the current trend to the downside, right? Well, I will go down. Let's go down to we see where we are here. Let's take it down to like the 1 hour. See what we've got going on. Right. We've got the 382 pullback, showing some reversal potential here, right? At least in the short term, but overall bearish right now on that gas for the time being, right? It continues to correct to the downside. Here we are on copper, right? So we see here front page, copper halts historic sell-off. So it halted its historic sell-off right in the 80-20 zone. All right. So we'll see if we can get any type of a pullback. It's gonna be tough. Gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. Reese said he's also long Ethereum. Okay. On an 80-20 buy on a 1 hour. I know it took a dip. I saw that the other day. 74. What else do we have? Okay. So that's where we are on copper. So those are the commodities that we're following. Reese was talking about earlier. Um, Aussie dollar on the 30, looking for, a, a potential high price. This is what we're looking like on the 1, right? So we were projecting a pullback and we're getting it. Okay. We can take that off of there now. So this is the 1 hour. We'll go down to the 30. All right, so your 30-minute, right? Your new 30-minute candle, right? You got to push to the downside. That got close to that 61 degrees. That got close. So we'll see if it makes another move higher. But that definitely tapped into that sell zone there on the 30. So we'll continue to watch that. Right? We know that Aussie is definitely weak. We know that dollar has pushed into some strong support. So here's our 4. All right, we got 382 pull back on that. We'll see. But I don't know, even though I'm definitely not high on the dollar, I just don't know with these conditions where that Aussie is going to find some strength, any of those commodity type currencies and commodities in general, unless we have a major new development, you know, in these tariff battles, so we'll see. What is the VIX today? 50. All right. 50.59. It's up there. All right. It's up there. So we'll continue to see what's going on. But that's the Aussie dollar, right? Continuing uh to look for shorts on that. So we see it on the 1, we see it on the 30. That might be. We'll see what happens with that today, Reese. Pushed a good ways already. What else? What else were we looking at here? Gold, yes, oil. So let's go back up to, so I forgot to go over that. US oil approaching 80-20 zone 4. So take a look at that one more time. People to see that on this oil. And I want to put, because I meant to do that when I was here last time. I want to put this cloud on. All right, and looking at our 50 and our 200, right? Get some of these markups out of here. Right. Just so everybody will see, right? How we hit that daily D extension, but you can see how, right, our lagging span is below price. That's what we mean, right? Here's price represented by our candles, lagging span below price. Here's our 50, right? Moving average that we've added to our cloud, our 200, right? All signs are pointing down. And so until we see, any type of sign or get any type of signal fundamentally, we're going to assume that down. But what Reese is talking about is we are, right? We've moved past it now. We did hit that 80-20 zone, right? We didn't get a 382, right? So those are the rules here on the 4, right? The larger chart You can see we're just approaching that 80-20 zone. We're pushing pretty strong to the downside there. So this is what Reese's alertness to. So nothing doing yet. I just wanted to go back and add that cloud to it just to see, right? Look, we just, right, started to move down again. See that? See that crossover? Moving down. Okay. So just want to cover that again real quick. Let me see. And let's take a look at our indices. Man, I want to see when New York opens, what's going to happen. So here we are on our S&P, 4-hour trend line break short. All right. Still short on the S&P. All right. Look at the move down. We got a 61.8 pullback. Right. We tapped that level twice. And so what's our low here? 43.62. It's our 4-hour chart. We'll look to tap out right there based on the 4. US 30. Same thing, right? These charts are moving pretty much identical. Trend line break, move to the downside. Right, so continue to watch it, right? We didn't get as high to push up, right? But we're between that 382 and that 50, all right? So we can see we still got some downside pressure on this 4-hour candle. Let's move up to the daily. On this chart, we're extended, right? We're really overextended. $35.95, next daily support. This is where we are. US 30. Decent pullback there already. This is our one, all right? I structured to the downside, at least right now. All right, so on your 1-hour chart, didn't quite get a 786. Turning over. The extension. The US 30. Let's see what happens with that. All right. Especially once New York opens today. NASDAQ. All right, that's your 4. Everything looks like for right now, we're still structured to the downside. We'll draw this up on a 1. Crazy price action there, got whipsaw. Uh, looks short, right? Held up at 17,262. Got a 1 hour support there. And he's looking bearish on the onset, right? So that's our NASDAQ. Nikkei, right? We got the extension that was hit. We'll go back up. Right. We collapse. Right. So we won't have an official swing low on a daily until later today. If this low holds up, it may not. We'll take it to the one. So what we had drawn up yesterday, all right, good plays. Look at the high prices that were hit. You got further breaks to the downside. So, all right, it's just more evidence that no matter what the conditions, bullish or bearish, fundamentally, no matter what's going on, the market's going to move in waves, right? So we look for this to continue down, right? So we got a 786 pullback. We expected the extension to be at the 127. So the game is still the same. And that's the beautiful thing about what we do. Right. So once get your directional bias, are you going to be right all the time? Of course not. Right. But as far as doing the best you can to determine that bias and set yourself up in a proper risk reward scenarios, doesn't get any better than the fibs. It just doesn't. Right. So that's what we look like right now. Okay. So the shorts are in. We'll see if that accelerates, right? Once New York opens. But you know, um, based on everything that I was listening to early this morning, Asian session, European session, looks like further moves to the downside. Let's get some breaking news, right? UK 100, right? This is your 4 hour chart moving down, right? So we've seen this on multiple charts where your higher time frame charts, like your 4 hour things like that, we've gotten those pullbacks to at least at 382, but your smaller, your lower time frame charts, right, has resulted in a higher pullback, right? So if you're looking for decent short-term moves, right, as we adjusted our charts yesterday, right, structure to the downside, look, same thing. Isn't that crazy? Decent pullback, 61.8 right now. Looking for shorts. Looking for shorts. That's the UK 100. GR30, right? This one pulled back 50% on the 4. But you can see it's the same footprint. Isn't it beautiful how if you use the same structure consistently, how easy it is to pick up on the price action patterns, right? So we come to the 1, we'll see if that yeah. So on the 1, you got an 8-6 pull back there, structure to the downside. So here on your 1 hour, so if the market structure, I mean, if the fundamentals and the market conditions stay the same, that was the high price, but we'll get through there. So move sideways, right? The market conditions stay the same, then you expect these to continue to the downside. Right? So that's your GI 30, your Russell, same, right? It is a pattern-driven market. Thoughts become things. Certain behaviors become habit. Those habits, right, can be mapped out as patterns. That's what's going on right now. 1690. We almost got there before, but it rebounded. It's the game, right? Any questions on the indices? Nope. All right. So that's the look. Pretty much the same across the board. Let's take a look at this dollar yen
It's
short.
gory, that's for sure. If it's gonna keep
What'd
heading
you say?
down. I said it looks
Say that
gory
again?
if it's gonna keep heading down.
Yeah, it does. It does. It really does. Um, that's why I like looking at both the technicals and the fundamentals, because the technicals can give you a really good idea of how much further things can move down, especially using our fib framework. So you're not just hoping, like, oh, I hope they get it together and things turn around soon. Well, it's like, well, let me bank on these downside targets being hit first. You know, um, you can see that technically, right? So that's why we just don't rely on solely one or the other. We use both. Uh, so here we are on this daily chart for the dollar yen. And so again, right, we got the direction right on it. We understand the fundamentals. We talked about it, I think it's a week ago. Might have been a week before last when we were talking about the lady from the investment firm saying during these times, right, that yen showing strength, right? And we're talking about stagflation, you know, what we could see happen. And one of those things that she had said was that the yen typically performs well in periods of stagflation, right? So acting as that safe haven, and we see that that dollar is weak, that yen is gaining strength, and we are moving down, right? So that 141.60, 141.46 uh, doesn't look bad right now. I'll just say that. Yeah. So that's what we're looking at. So we could come down to the lower time frames. Here we tapped into that 50% and we're sinking. So right now, on any of your lower time frames, we'll be looking for pullbacks and continuations to the downside, right? That VIX is way up there. So any type of pullback that we could get off of this leg, if you trade your lower charts, any type of scenario, right, where we can identify and get some sort of a pullback. It might not even be working on the 15 yet, but we'll see. Yeah, so it is going to be the high for sure. So this was already in motion. So I was wondering if we could catch it on the pullback, but it's already pulled back and headed down. So even on your 15-minute, this is going to be that downside target. There's that daily target there. All right. So this is your next target on the 15 if you're short. So if you just give things time, right? They'll go. Right. So right now we're still on pace, right, for that 141.46, that daily, the extension. So that's that on the dollar yen. Let's look at our dollar Swissy, right? Our other safe haven. down, overextended. 4 hour, right? Pull back, wasn't pretty, right? Out of that 80-20 zone. But we hit it, but we've been down ever since, right? That tells you there's no deep pullback. Sellers, the bears are in control, right? We only pulled back 38%, and now we're headed to that extension, right? So that's a done deal. That's a done deal there. Let me take this back up to the one. 382 on the one as well, right? And a whole lot we could do. That's headed south, right? Um, Maybe if you get a pullback to a high price there, that is in the 80-20 zone, right? But, if you're only shorting, you need a high price on that 15-minute to continue to move down. That's where we are. So if you are a bear in this market, you're willing to get short in this market right now, there's money to be made, right? The bulls have had a very, 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 very long run, right? But right now, the bears are in control. Okay, so if you're willing to be a bear, which we have the ability to do both in this group, which is amazing, right? It's your time to shine. Right? Your time to shine. Any type of counter trend moves, 80-20s, things like that, use additional confirmation for sure, right? It's definitely for your bullish 80-20s, right? The counter move to the upside. Okay. So that's where we are there. The Swissy yen, yeah, is continuing to move and gain momentum. So we're about to hit TP2 on this one. So the forever trade is playing out. It's playing out. Okay. So two safe havens, that Swissy is winning the day right now, though. Right. It's winning the day. So there we are. Moving towards TP2. Right. So that one ended up being worth holding. Right. On that. You look at that from the daily, that thing is still coming out of the buy zone. Look at that. So that's got further upside potential. Track this on the one. That U-turn. We're just moving, right? That's a nice pullback there. I've only been watching it on the four. I haven't really paid attention to it a lot on the one. But you can see where you got a double bottom, right? That came in right at the edge of our buy zone there. All right, we're moving higher. That D extension. So we're gonna get there. So that's remained bullish, right? Take a look at our Euro USD. Climbing. Continue to climb. Move higher. Daily stochastic still in the buy zone. It's 80-20. Looks like that's a no-go on the $4 weakness. Euro is showing strength. Right. So this 1 hour chart is a good chart to follow. Yeah, that's a nice swing going on there. Continue to make higher highs and higher lows on the euro dollar. We'll see. But you never know when that dollar can get a bounce. Okay. The only one that I've been pretty much going with that dollar is that dollar yen. Take a look at some of these stocks before we wrap things up, see where we are, right? Tesla continuing to move down. It's a daily, it's a long way to go to 125, but it's possible. 80-20 looks like it's failing. All right, like that may come into and hit that D extension. On the 4 for Tesla, on the 1, too much downside pressure. Too much downside pressure. But just continue to keep an eye on it. All right. Companies aren't going anywhere. Apple, man, look at that. 169 coming in. Well, Apple, 3,500 phones. Who's gonna buy that? With slower growth and Larry Summers, right? Well-known economist, saying as a result of these policies, up to 2 million jobs in the United States could be lost. That's sad. That's sad.
Wait, did you see the thing that China did?
What?
They made a commercial of America, obese Americans sewing on sewing machines.
Talking about we're trying to bring manufacturing back, right?
Yeah.
Man, that's a hit. That's a hit right there. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Why we gotta be fat?
Man, man. No lies told. That's what it'll look like too. No lies told. Wow, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to look that one up. My goodness. Said they're gonna fight to the end. So that's part of the fight. So this is your 1 hour on Apple, right? That's continuing to hit bearish 154.63. Apple. Look at that. Unbelievable, right? But these times, right? These are opportunities. Man, let me see 151 on Amazon. Let's try showing the gap there. Let's see. I'll take this one. It's 4 hour. Bearish. So if you're trading, right? Trading what you see right now in the short term, nice bearish moves taking place in the market. Tradable. Right? Tradable. Right? If you're willing to get short. If you're thinking long-term portfolio and investments, opportunities coming if you just stay patient. Okay? Meta's not going out of business, but I will buy it at a low price. Okay? We'll see how long these trade wars last. But when we're looking at it from a trader's angle or investor's angle, we're positioned to make money, right? Either way. If you're looking at these markets right now, they are clearly bearish, right? And it goes without saying. So if this is your game, finding the opportunities in that, and by all means, right? Make your plays, follow your FIB principles, and you're gonna make your money. Fibs, keep it simple. Right. And a 50% pullback there on Microsoft. What's the low price on that? 309. That's a monthly support. Man, fire sale prices. Find some cheap shots and markup and trade options. Yeah. 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 That's true. That's true. No lies told there. That's only got a 382 there. That's bearish, right? So even like when they try to get positive, right, it's just so much downside pressure, you know. So set your charts up, make your plays at the levels that you know to trade. But that's it. That is it. So you're either taking advantage of these shorts now, right? Still stand within your Fibonacci sequence principles, still sticking to your rules, right? You're making money. If you're waiting for low prices to get involved in longer term opportunities, holding positions over the long term to build that long term portfolio, just continue to mark your charts up and watch the prices fall. Watch the prices fall. Continue to watch the fundamentals. But either way, in this group, we got you. One for 79.99, two for 50. Absolutely. I knew a guy growing up in Cincinnati, man. He just had a tent business. And he would sell t-shirts under that tent. And that's exactly what it was. One for this, two for that. that it made a killer. He probably still there making that money. All right. So that is it. That's all I have for this morning. Continue to watch the fundamentals. If there's any time to know exactly why we are big on fundamentals, it's times like these, right? It's times like these, right? So we have pretty much stayed ahead of the game fundamentally here in the Forex trade room. And that's something that I'm definitely proud of in this group. So with that being said, everybody enjoy the rest of your day. I will be back here tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the pre-New York session. Man, let's see what happens after day one with these tariffs officially going into effect. Let's see who counters. And hey, let's play the game the best we can. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, Ben. Or as usual, enjoyable session.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate your input and all your feedback.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.